Well, good morning and welcome to the nearly July allotment. And I thought I would film a little bit earlier, as in before the beginning of the month, simply because we've had some very, very hot weather and it'll be interesting to see how the plots coped in temperatures of mid 30 degrees, which for the southwest of England is very unusual. We don't get temperatures like that very often. But last week we had over 36 degrees recorded here in Somerset, and that was unprecedented. So how have things coped? Quite different today. I'm wearing a fleece. It's about 19 degrees and quite fresh up here, which is actually rather lovely. Anyway, let me take you around and show you what has changed. We'll start with the cut flower bed, and the gladioli are starting to come out and flower, which is fantastic. They will look amazing. I've got some really good ones this year. There's a few random potatoes in there as well, and also some dahlias. They seem to like the heat. They've done well. A little bit of dill there. I'm not quite sure how that got there. I certainly didn't put it in there. And then we're on to glossy beans. And I'm very excited because look, we have some babies. Look at that. That's so exciting. I'm incredibly pleased with these. And they too have had minimal water and they seem to have done very, very well. So they're looking really happy. They're liking the heat that we've had. The broad beans are a bit of a mixed bag. We've got a little bit of aphid problem with those, but the actual beans themselves are looking quite good. And I have had a couple of pickings already. And they're the ones that I grew from seed, and they're much better than the ones I transplanted. So I will definitely be growing from seed again in the future. Kale, I've just got that under nets to protect it from the birds. And the parsnips are looking quite happy as well. So they seem to have coped well. And as I said, I've done minimal watering in the beds, just a little bit now and again. The onions some of them are going to seed, which isn't a good sign for them. But others are starting to fill out now. So I'm hoping to have a few to harvest fairly soon. Well, when they flop over and dry off. And then in this bed here, the carrots are looking quite happy. The spring onions look happy, and you can see the sweet peas in flower. They're looking very happy as well. It's the best sweet peas I've had up here. They're doing really well. They got started off with a really good soak. I think planting those when we had the wet weather about 3 weeks ago was a very, very good plan. And the roots have gone down and worked hard to get the moisture. The flower beds, I've cut back all the daisies just to create some room for the other plants. And certainly the dry conditions have had an impact on the Rudbeckia because they're nowhere near as tall as they would be normally this time of year, but they are coming out in flower. But that's not necessarily a problem. But they probably could do with a bit more moisture. The reel needs topping up quite regularly. And I've deadheaded the rose now because that was completely over. But it's all looking a little bit arid in the beds. And then the raspberries, I've actually uncovered where the gooseberries are because I haven't got many gooseberries this year. And the nets were just getting crowded out. So I decided to take the net off and just hope for the best, really. I did pick some very early raspberries yesterday and they were very, very nice. They're autumn raspberries, but I reckon they'll be out in flower, in fruit, probably well before September. I think most of them will be July and August. The strawberries have had the most amazing harvest. You wouldn't think so to look at them now because they look a bit sad. They have taken a real hit with the weather I've not put any water at all on these except what's fallen out of the sky, and that's not been very much recently. So they've really been clobbered by the weather. But they have produced the most amazing yield. I think I've probably picked about 10 kilos of strawberries altogether. But they've done it now, they've had it. So my job for this morning is to actually cut the foliage back and to tidy everything up and to just let the runners, just see if there are any runners out there, because I want to propagate some strawberry plants to another part of the allotment this year and grow a bit more fruit. I've got minimal plants in pots because of the dry weather, but they've actually done quite well there in the shelter lee of the shed. The butts are empty. Well, the big blue one is. My husband is filling it up for me as we speak, which is lovely. And you can see the compost bins are looking pretty full, and that's because I've cut back all the daisies and they're all in there. So I need to probably turn that and hope it all rots down a little bit. I've cut down the foxglove because that had finished flowering, which has now given some room for some beetroot, which hadn't really got going. The beetroot's okay. Something's been nibbling the leaves, but I think underground it'll be fine. More flowers. And the fruit trees aren't bad. They're not going to have any fruit this year, but that doesn't matter. They need to get established. I've redone the pond. Basically, the pond was in a very sad looking state, completely congested, so that's been redone. And I'll just let the area around that naturalise so that there's some protection. The apple tree's looking somewhat sad, but that will pick up hopefully next year. And this area here, I'm probably going to grow some soft fruit next year, possibly some gooseberries, give them their own space. The courgettes, having been a disaster, look to me as though they might actually take off a little bit, which would be good. So this little area here is just a trial. And my plan for this bed is to grow some lavender. I've got some lavender bushes at home which have got pretty overgrown. So I'm going to transplant them in the autumn, bring them up here, and I think they'll really like the sunny open position. And then I've got some more carrots down here, just making the best of my raised beds really, and some dwarf beans. They're purple beans. The reason this bed's empty is because it was full of very diseased looking broad beans that were doing very little. They'd been absolutely clobbered by black fly, so I decided to cut my losses and take them out. Similarly, I haven't dug these yet, but I don't know whether there'll be much in the way of potatoes. They've not done very well. They've not come into flower. They're first early Charlottes, so I might have a go at digging some later and seeing if there's any yield there at all. The apple tree is absolutely dripping in fruit, so I'll be able to hopefully have some nice bramleys later on. And then over here, I've got some lettuces. And I'm going to sit down now on my bench and just enjoy looking at, in fact, I'm going to turn round and pan in on a man filling a water butt with water. How full is it now? Why do you get the boring jobs? It's good exercise. How full is it now? I'll come and have a look. That's one of the downsides of having a pump. We're lucky we've got water on this plot. There are lots of allotments that don't even have it, and you have to rely on whatever comes out of the sky. At least we've got some water, which is great. Anyway, going to sign off now and crack on with a few jobs. Thank you for watching Pink Octopus Productions, and I will keep you updated. And thank you to those of you that have shown a real interest in what goes on the plot. It's really, really good. Thank you. I just want to show you my haul from the allotment this morning. Look at those. loads of broad beans, and my first picking of first earlies, which I'm really happy with because I thought they were going to be a disaster. They never came into flower and they've gone all brown and horrible now, which they do when they die off. That's the time to pick them. And I dug up 2 plants and I've got that nice little lot. So I'm really happy. Happy days. It makes it all worthwhile. Definitely does.